Well, good morning, guys. It's Pastor Andy. Wanted to continue having devotions with you and bring you into my devotions each day. And I'm reading in Mark chapter 14. And in this story here, we have Jesus who's preparing to take the Passover with his disciples. So he sends them out. They find this place, and Jesus sits them down and says, "One of you is going to betray me." He takes the bread and he breaks it and says, "This is my body." He gives them the wine and says, "This is my blood. Do this in remembrance of me." And he comes down and talks about how he's about to be betrayed by one of the 12. And I love what happens here with Peter. In Mark 14, verse 27, on the way, Jesus told them, "All of you will desert me, for the scriptures say God will strike the shepherd and the sheep will be scattered. But after I am raised from the dead, I will go ahead of you to Galilee and meet you there." Peter said to him, "Even if everyone else deserts you, I never will." Jesus replied, "I tell you the truth, Peter. This very night, before the rooster crows twice, you will deny me 3 times that you even know me." "No," Peter declared emphatically. "Even if I have to die with you, I would never deny you." And all the others vowed the same. These guys all made a commitment. I would never betray you. And Peter, the mouthpiece, the one who's always sticking his foot in his mouth and saying or doing something probably shouldn't do, says, I'll even die for you. And then what happens? We all know the story. Peter denied Jesus 3 times and took off and ran. Man, if Peter... And here's the part that encourages me. Here's the part that's encouraging to me. And I think it'll encourage you too if you think about it. Peter, one of the 12, spent 3.5 years walking side by side with Jesus, saw the Messiah, heard him preach, saw the miracles, walked on water. Here, this guy who has seen and experienced so much still betrayed Jesus. Said, "I don't even know him." Not once, not twice, but 3 times in one night. Can I ask you, have you ever betrayed Jesus? Now, I'm not talking about denying him like, I don't know him, but maybe it's in the way that we live. We pretend that we don't go to church, or we pretend we don't read our Bible. We pretend we don't pray. We don't stop and pray for our food at lunch while we're at work because we don't want anybody to see that we're a Christian. We kind of are that undercover Christian. And while we might not verbally say, "I don't know who Jesus is, I'm not a Jesus follower," by our lives sometimes we can hide who we are. And even by peer pressure, because we feel like we want to just fit in. Here's a part that encourages me. Peter, who saw all this, denied Jesus. So, you know what? You and I, when we do something, when we sin, when we mess up, when we fall short, when we deny Jesus by the way we live, guess what? We're in good company with Peter. And Peter came back and in the book of Acts preached one of the greatest sermons ever, and God used him in a great way at Pentecost, and over 3,000 people came to Jesus in a relationship with him. So even when somebody who spent that much time with Jesus falls, he's not done with him. So when you and I fall, when you and I falter in our faith, when we kind of become that undercover Christian because we don't want people to think that we're weird, guess what? When we turn back to God, he can still use us. He's not turning his back on us. As I said Sunday morning in the message multiple times, even when we're faithless, he is always faithful. There's some amazing stories in God's Word. I hope you'll get into it and read it for yourself and see what he has for you. And until tomorrow, God bless you and have a great day.